Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel English Tutorial. Today we will discuss about life of William Shakespeare, the great dramatist, not only Elizabethan era but whole English literature. I am Rajni Veena, Assistant Professor, Government College Rawatwata, welcomes you in this video. William Shakespeare's introduction. William Shakespeare was an actor, playwright, poet, theatre entrepreneur in London during the late Elizabethan and early Jacobean eras. He was baptized on 26 April 1564 in Stratford upon Avon in Warwickshire, England, in the Holy Trinity Church. At the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway, with whom he had three children. He died in his hometown of Stratford on 23rd April 1616, aged 51. Though more is not known about Shakespeare's life than those of most other Elizabethan and Jacobean writers, few personal biographical facts survive, which is unsurprising in the light of his social status as a commoner. The low esteem in which his profession was held and the general lack of interest of the time in the personal lives of writer. Information about his life derives from public instead of private documents, vital records, real estate and tax records, lawsuits, records of payments, and references to Shakespeare and his works in printed and handwritten text. Nevertheless, hundreds of biographies have been written and more continue to be, most of which rely on inferences and historical context of the 70s. Also, hard facts recorded about Shakespeare, the man, a technique that sometimes leads to embellishment and unwanted interpretation of the documented record. Family origin. The parish register entry of Shakespeare's Christianizing in the Holy Trinity Church reads in Latin. This means William, son of John Shakespeare. His early life. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford upon Avon. His exact date of birth is not known. The baptismal record was dated 26 April 1564 but has been traditionally taken to be 23rd April 1564, which is also the feast day of Saint George, the patron saint of England. He was the first son and the first surviving child in the family. Two earlier children, John and Margaret, had died early. A market town then of around 2000 residents, about 100 miles northwest of London. Stratford was a center for the marketing, distribution, and slaughter of sheep, hide tanning, and wool trading, as well as for melting to supply brewers of ale and beer. This is the John Shakespeare's house, believed to be Shakespeare's birthplace, now belonging to the Shakespeare's Birthplace Trust. William Shakespeare's parents. His parents were John Shakespeare, a successful glover originally from Snitterfield in the Warwickshire, and Mary Arden, the youngest daughter of John's father's landlord, a member of the local gentry. The couple married around 1557 and lived on Helney Street when Shakespeare was born, purportedly in a house now known as Shakespeare's birthplace. They had 8 children. Shakespeare's family was above average materially during his childhood. His father's business was thriving at the time of William's birth. John Shakespeare owned several properties in Stratford and had a profitable though illegal sideline of dealing in wool. He was appointed to several municipal offices and served as an alderman in 1565, culminating in a term as bailiff, the chief magistrate of the town council in 1568. For reasons unclear to history, he fell upon hard times beginning in 1576 when William was 12. He was prosecuted for unlicensed dealing in wool and for usury, and he mortgaged and subsequently lost some land he had obtained through his wife's inheritance that would have been inherited by his eldest son. After 4 years of non attendance at counseling meetings, he was finally replaced as Burgess in 1586. William Shakespeare's boyhood and education. Eclo- uh, Shakespeare had received a grammar school education. The King Edward VI School at Stratford was on Church Street, less than a quarter of a mile from Shakespeare's home and within a few yards from where his father sat on the town council. It was free to all male children, and the evidence indicates that John Shakespeare sent his sons there for a grammar school education, though no attendance records survive. Shakespeare would have been enrolled when he was 7 in 1571. Classes were held every day except on Sundays, with a half day off on Thursday year round. The school day typically ran from 6 am to 5 pm, with a 2-hour break for lunch, and from 7 am to 4 pm in winter. Grammar school varied in quality during the Elizabethan era, but the grammar curriculum was standardized by royal decree throughout England. Shakespeare is unique among his contemporaries in the extent of figurative language derived from country life and nature. The familiarities with the animals and plants of the English countryside exhibited in his poems and plays, especially the early ones, suggest that he lived the childhood of a typical country boy with a ease, access to rural nature, and a propensity for outdoor sports, especially hunting. His marriage on 27 November 1582, Shakespeare was issued a special license to marry Anne Hathaway, the daughter of the late Richard Hathaway, a yeoman farmer of Shortry, about a mile west of Stratford. He was 18 and she was 26. The license issued by the Conjectory Court of the Diocese of Worcester, 21 miles west of Stratford, allowed the two to marry with only one proclamation of the marriage bench in church instead of the customary 3 successive Sundays. Since he was underage and could not stand as surety, and Hathaway's father was not living, two neighbors of Hathaway, Fulk Sandals and John Richardson, posted a band of $40 the next day to ensure that no legal impediments existed to the union, that she had the consent of the bride's friend, and to indemnify the bishop's issuing of the license from any possible liabilities for the wife, and any children should have impediment nullify the marriage. The exact day they married is not known nowhere. The reason for the special license appeared 6 months later with the baptism of their first daughter, Susanna, on 26 May 1583. Their twin children, son Hamnet and the daughter Judith, named after Shakespeare's neighbors Hamnet and Judith Sadler, were baptized on 2 February 1585 before Shakespeare was 21 years of the age. Lost years. After the baptism of the twins in 1585, save for being party to a lawsuit to recover part of his mother's estate that had been mortgaged and lost by default, Shakespeare leaves no historical traces until Robert Greene jealously alluded to him as part of London theatrical scene in 1592. This 7 years period, known as the lost years to Shakespeare's scholars, was filled with early biographers with surmises drawn from local traditions and by more recent biographers with surmises about the onset of his acting career deduced from textual and biographic hints and the surviving records of the various playing troupes of the time. While this lack of records was any certainty about his activity during those years, it is certain that by the time of Green's attack on the 28 years old Shakespeare, he had acquired a reputation as an actor and bargaining playwright. Shakespeare's myth. Shakespeare before Thomas Lucy, a typical Victorian illustration of the poaching anecdote. According to Shakespeare's first biographer, Nicholas Rowe, Shakespeare fled Stratford after he got in trouble for poaching deer from local squire Thomas Lucy, and that he then wrote a Scurrilous ballad about Lucy. It is also reported, according to a note added by Samuel Johnson to the 1765 edition of Rowe's Life, that Shakespeare minded the horses for theatre patrons in London. Johnson adds that the story had been told to Alexander Pope by Rowe. In his brief lives, written 1669 to 96, John Abre reported that Shakespeare had a schoolmaster in the country on the authority of William Baston, son of Christopher Baston, who had acted with Shakespeare in Every Man in His Humour 1598 as a fellow member of the Lord Chamberlain's men. London and theatrical career. This is Shakespeare's signature taken from his will. Shakespeare is not Shakespeare is known today primarily as a playwright and a poet. His main occupation was a player and sharer in an acting troupe. How or when Shakespeare got into acting is unknown. The profession was unregulated by a guild that could have established restrictions on a new entrance to the profession. Actors were literally masterless men, and several avenues existed to break into the field in the Elizabethan era. By 1592, Shakespeare was a player or playwright in London, and he had enough of a reputation for Robert Greene to denounce him in posthumous Green's crores worth of bitte, brought with a million of repentance, as an upstart crow beautified with the feathers that with his tiger's heart wrapped in a player Hyde supposes he is as well able to bombast out a blank verse as the best of you, and being an absolute Johnson's phantom is his own conceit, the only sex scene in a country. By late 1594, Shakespeare was part owner of a playing company known as the Lord Chamberlain's Men. Like others of the period, the company took its name from its aristocratic sponsor. In this case, the Lord Chamberlain, the group became popular enough that after the death of Elizabeth I and the coronation of James I in 1603, the new monarch adopted the company and it became known as the King's Men. After the death of their previous sponsor, Shakespeare's work were written within the frame of reference of the career actor rather than a member of the learned profession or from scholarly book leaning. 1598, he appeared at the top of a list of actors in Every Man in His Humor, written by Ben Jonson. He is also listed among the actors in Johnson's Sejanus His Fall. Also by 1598, his name began to appear on the title pages of his plays, presumably as a selling point. He appeared to have moved across the river Thames to Southwark sometime around 1599. In 1604, Shakespeare acted as a matchmaker for his landlord's daughter. Legal documents from 1612, when the case was brought to trial, show that Shakespeare was a tenant of Christopher Mountjoy, a who's not tie maker, is the northwest of London in 1604. Business affairs. By early 17th century, Shakespeare had become a very prosperous. Most of his money went to secure his family's position in Stratford. Shakespeare seems to have lived in rented accommodation while in London. According to John Avery, he travelled to Stratford to stay with his family for a period every year. Shakespeare grew rich enough to buy the second largest house in Stratford, New Place, and this is New Place, Shakespeare's home, sketched in 1737 by George Virtue from a description, which is acquired in 1597 for $60 from William Underhill. The Stratford Chamberlain's accounts in 1598 record a sale of stone to the council from Mr. Shakespeare, which may have been related to remodeling work on the newly purchased house. The purchase was thrown into doubt when evidence emerged that Underhill, who died shortly after the sale, had been poisoned by his eldest son, but the sale was confirmed by a new heir, Hercules Underhill, when he came of age in 1602. In 1598, the local council ordered an investigation into the hoarding of grain, as there had been a run of bad harvest causing a steep increase in prices. Speculators were acquiring excess quantities in hope of profiting from scarcities. Shakespeare had established himself in Stratford as the keeper of a great house, the owner of the large gardens and granaries, a man with generous stores of barley, which one could purchase at need for a price. In short, he had become an entrepreneur specializing in real estate and agricultural products, an aspect of his identity further enhanced by his investments in local farmland and farm produce. Shakespeare's last major purchase was in March 1613 when he bought an apartment in the Gatehouse in the former Blackfriars Priory. The Gatehouse was near Blackfriars Theatre, which Shakespeare's company used as their winter playhouse from 1608. The, the purchase was probably an investment, as Shakespeare was living mainly in Stratford by this time, and the apartment was rented out to one John Robinson. Robinson may have been the same man recorded as a laborer in Stratford, in which case it is possible he worked for Shakespeare. He may be the same John Robinson who was one of the witnesses to Shakespeare's will. Later years and death. This is Shakespeare's funerary monument. Rowe was the first biographer to pass down the tradition that Shakespeare retired to Stratford some years before his death, but retirement from all work was uncommon at that time, and Shakespeare continued to visit London. In 1612, he was called as a witness in the Bellot B. Mountjoy case. Years later, he was back in London to make the Gatehouse purchase. In June 1613, Shakespeare's daughter Susanna was slandered by John Lane, a local man who claimed that she had caught gonorrhea from a lover. Susanna and her husband, Dr. John Hall, sued for slander. Lane failed to appear and was convicted. From November 1614, Shakespeare was in London for several weeks with his son-in-law Hall. In the last few weeks of Shakespeare's life, the man who was to marry his younger daughter Judith, a tavern keeper named Thomas Quincy. Shakespeare died on 23rd April 1616, the presumed day of his birth and feast day of St. George, patron of England, at the reputed age of 52. He died within a month of signing his will, a document which he begins by describing himself as being in perfect health. No extent contemporary source explains how or why he died. After half a century had passed, John Ward, the vicar of Stratford, wrote in his notebook, Shakespeare, Drayton, Ben Jonson had a merry meeting, and it seems drank too hard, for Shakespeare died of a fever there contracted. It is certainly possible he caught a fever after such a meeting, for Shakespeare knew Johnson and Drayton. Shakespeare was survived by his wife Anne and by two daughters, Susanna and Judith. His son Hamnet had died in 1596. His last surviving decadents was his granddaughter Elizabeth Hall, the daughter of Susanna and John Hall. There are no direct descendants of the poet and playwright alive today, but the diarist John Aubrey recalls in his brief life that William Davenant, his godson, was contended to be believed Shakespeare's actual son. Davenant's mother was the wife of a vintner at the Crown Tavern in Oxford, on the road between London and Stratford, where Shakespeare would stay when travelling between his home and capital. Shakespeare's gravestone, in which inscribed these words: "Good friends, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares that these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones." He was buried in the chancel of Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. He was granted the honor of burial in the chancel not on account of his fame as a playwright, but for purchasing a share of the tithe of church for $440. A monument on the wall nearest his grave, probably placed by his family, features a bust showing Shakespeare posed in the act of writing. Each year, on his claimed worth, a new quill pen is placed in the writing hand of the bust. He is believed to have written the epitaph of his tombstone. Thank you so much for watching this video.